He's gonna know what I want because I'm writing a letter.
Dear Santa.
Dear Santa.
Dear Santa.
Santa gets quite a few letters. We will send those to the North Pole today.
Santa needs elves because this is a really big world, and he can't possibly do it all himself.
The more children there are, the harder it was to answer all the letters.
Hello, Dana. It's so great to meet you. I loved your film so much. I wore my special Santa hat for you.
Thank you. I love it. I want one.
Thanks. It really gets. It really got me into this the spirit of Christmas, and your film is just so beautiful. I thank you so much for doing that. I read that in the press notes that you were inspired to do this a long time ago when you were reading to your own children. You would read them a picture book. I was wondering if you recall the name of that book. I was trying to research and find it, but there is a little nebulous, honestly, to find it.
Well, what's funny is, so I had this book, I think it was called Letters to Santa, and my mom bought it for me, and she got it at the post office by her house. I think it had like a little stuffed animal with it, and it was just cute, and I think it was made for the 100-year anniversary of Operation Santa, and I think it was at least 8 years ago. But what's funny is, this book disappeared from my house eventually. I read it for a bunch of years, and then I think my babysitter was going through my books to give to somebody else, and I think she gave it away. So then every year I thought about this book, and when I went to say, okay, this is the year I need to go contact the Postal Service because it was such an amazing book, but I knew it would be an even better film. I was like, the book has disappeared. Was it a figment of my imagination? So then one of the PAs on our film researched it and did find it, and it was something that I think it was called Letters to Santa, and that the USPS had put it out. But even when I went when we launched this project, they invited me to the headquarters of the United States Postal Service, and I brought it up in this meeting of like 15 people, and nobody remembered it. So I was like, I think I've made this up, but it did exist. It is just not in publication anymore.
Sure. Thank you for that. I have to tell you, I really enjoyed the animation of your film that you brought into the film, particularly the opening credits. It's just so great. Gets you in the mood as well. And the tone is wonderful. How are those creative decisions made?
So yeah, I mean, thank you so much. I really so we were, the opening of the film takes place in I believe it's the busiest postal center in America. It's right near Times Square, where, I mean, millions and millions of letters and packages come in every year. And I've always had a fascination with the USPS and how did the letters get everywhere. So I always knew I wanted to start it in there and kind of follow a letter, and then I talked to the graphic designers about it. And I think, graphics have always been probably one of the hardest things for me to deal, even when I was a television producer. Just articulating what I wanted was always very, very difficult. And so I think it's about finding the right people, talking to them about the tone of your movie that you want. And then, so now I've worked with this group, Big Star out of New York. I've worked with them on the series I did for Disney Plus, and now for this, and I just love them, and I love the whimsy of it. They knew we were going for whimsy and warm and family-like, but not just for children, and I think they nailed it.
Well, I love that you included so much more than Letters to Santa. The adult letters were just fabulous. Was that a change from the original book or idea, or did that come about with the development of your film?
That's an interesting question because I lost the book. I don't exactly remember what the book said. I think I don't really remember it focusing on adults. And I think there are so many. I think once we started, we were able to read the letters because we were kind of sitting waiting for last year's letters to come in, and we had to pounce on them as soon as they did. But we were able to read the letters from the year before, so it became obvious that a lot of adults do write in. It was really, really interesting. It's almost like, as Jen from Chicago says in the film, it's like message in a bottle. Like it's people are writing to Santa and just putting it out there, like almost like as my teenage daughter says, to manifest something. Like that is what it seems like people do with these letters, and I was very fascinated by that. And when I realized, even though the movie, I intended it to be very playful and fun and joyful, there's an undercurrent of poverty in America and need in America that you couldn't ignore. You couldn't in good conscience ignore that for this film. So we could have done an entire film on that. But we thought, let's just pick and choose the letters that were kind of indicative of the other ones that we read that could show the point. And and I would think that this year there's going to be a lot more of that, even because of the unemployment and sickness and all of that. So there's always kids who write in that they lost one of their parents, all these really, really sad, poignant stories, but there's also a lot of adults, so we wanted to showcase that.
I'm so glad you did. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
The quote, I really enjoyed this quote, and I've heard this quote before. People don't remember too much about what you say to them. They remember how you make them feel. Could you speak to that for a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, that really that I actually can't remember. I think it was somebody wrote to me, one of the people on my team, when they saw that in it. I think it might have been Maya Angelou. I'm not sure who said it originally, but I know, I agree with you. I think that's such an amazing thing, and it really is a great point to think about. When you get on the phone with a friend, do they sound happier when they got off the phone with you than when they started the phone call with you? And I once I started thinking along those lines, I was like, yeah, you can be a beacon of light, whether it's by making a movie like this or anything like that, or you can be a beacon of light just in your little teeny tiny actions. And I think that really resonated with me.
Listen, I just loved your movie, and I want to thank you for what you're doing for the world. It's so wonderful, and best of luck with the film.
Thank you so much. My cheeks hurt for smiling so much.
You have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you, you too.
We are here together. We are one. Let's have this moment of unity.
Delivery from Santa.
You'll never know how you benefited someone's life.
It's nice to feel remembered and to know that people still care.